some of the words we use in our spelling. Hey, thank you so much for joining. My name is Marsha Weigum, and you have the privilege of seeing us working at home with our children. I know the title said what you can do when the kids can't read. So, can't read doesn't mean that they don't know nothing. It just means you see them struggle sometimes to pronounce words and so on. And so we grab some resources because we always get into that place where, working towards getting better at the skill of reading and everything you do in life. So come on in. I hope you will be inspired. So right now I can tell you a couple of things that you can do when the children can read is as you're learning to read, especially as a mom who educate your children, is to find resources from other teachers who have been in the journey for a while and who have written books, and work through those resources with these credible sources in learning what to do, right? And we can do it better for them. Because it's not okay to just not put in the work to make it be better for them. And so when we teach, we're also learning, right? And so that's the journey where we're on with our children in our home education right now. And so, as I always believe that we empower each other. My goal is to bring out the best in us as children of God, as parents, parenting children with special needs, or you just homeschooling and you're doing your thing because your life is unique. So, my name is Marsha Weigum, and hey, I also wrote a book. It's called Take His Hands. Take His Hands. And this is our faith journey with our son, this Down syndrome diagnosis. This book is available on Amazon and in Kindle and in paper form. So get yourself a copy. Thank you so much for stopping by. And so as always, I like when we having something, we think we're doing something in our home education, or probably teaching the word of God. We're talking about our Down syndrome journey with our son's diagnosis. I love to share this because somebody might find something. So one of the things when children cannot read, and upon my studies of what's going on, I am discovering that they're in two groups. They either become or they're becoming dependent readers, right? Or the place where you want to get them is to become independent readers. And so the way to support them to become independent readers is to let them struggle with the text or struggle with the word. And struggle doesn't mean you're being a mean mama or a mean teacher, but it means that let them wrestle with the word, let them wrestle with the passage. Because in that wrestling, then you're going to learn the pronunciation better. You're on the side helping them as well, right? But you're allowing them to wrestle with the words some more. Because if you don't allow them to wrestle with the words, then they learn. And when they learn that, what's going to happen is the brain, right? Brain get into this pattern. And so they will become more dependent readers. Dependent readers sounds something like, oh, I can't read that, mom. It's too hard. Or can you just tell me what this is? And so they get into that pattern and they stay there. You guys know how it's hard to break out of any kind of patterns, right? So the goal when children cannot read is not to bail them out of it too quickly, because then they become dependent on you. And if they're probably outside, if they're in the schools, that's gonna even get worse, right? Because teachers can only attend to so many children in a span of the day. But at home, and they're struggling, let them break things down. I like to tell my children as we learn, because we're learners here, okay? And so I like to tell my children, you know what? Break that word down in its lowest form. We like to call it nitty-gritty. Go to the nitty-gritty of it. And that just simply means, let's spell that word out. Like, what is that word we just gave you a while ago, son? What was that word? Ambiguity. Break that word out. Say it aloud. Spell it. Right? And then the next thing we want to try and do is to decode it. Because guys, you do not need to know how a word spell in order to spell it. You agree?
Yes, ma'am.
What we need to do is to be able to decode the word, right? Um, say the names, the sounds of the letters. Sound out the letters. And in the sounding, then you can cipher out the letters, right? That we're spelling. That word that's needed to spell the word. And so that's what we're working on. We're working on allowing the kids to become better independent readers. And so I always want to know what's missing. How can I better help them? What my camera going that way? How can I better help you guys? And so we, you know, the preschool mama in me, the educator in me, the nurturer in me, the the Proverbs 31 mother in me. My husband said I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. But with that kind of mentality of let's help you become the best that God created you to be, I went out and I get myself some resources. And these resources, and probably you can go find this book too. So this one is called a guide for teachers, six teaching 6 to 12-year-old, and it's written by Kayleen Beers. Watch my camera gone over. It's a stereo nasal camera, and so maybe we should take it out for that. This author is a teacher, and oh why it's going away, and so it's called "When Kids Can't Read, What Teachers Can Do." Now remember, parents, whether you parent a child with Down syndrome or the typical children. I'm a mom of 6 children, and we have one who's diagnosed with Down syndrome. You don't have to be a teacher and have the credentials in order to help your children. We home educate our kids. Of course, my husband, yes, he went to college. I went to college. I did early childhood education. And of course, there's a lot of things we don't know. But the Bible also tells us that we need to study to show thyself approved. So it's a continual studying, right? So as we realize that we're bucking up on too much, we're having too much challenges with reading. And so we're learning, and we get out there and I get myself this resource. And so instead of reading and then go teach them, I thought of, wait a minute, why don't we just read this book together? Right? And do the activities. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you get something from this. And if you have a child when you want to make reading become more, better, right? Get yourself resources. You don't have to be a teacher, license and all of them stuff to help your children at home. Right in the kitchen here, right in your living room, wherever. Get your resources where you need. Read them either by yourself or read them with your children so we're learning together. So that's what we're doing here. And so as we're reading this text, let me drop a comment actually and let me know if you want the name of this book. Because if you don't, let me know in the comment. What's the name of the book? Just type that. What's the name of the book? And I'll when we finish, we'll put the name in there. I'll even take a picture of it too. So this resource here now, guys, as we read it together, we are realizing what this teacher is saying is best practice. Right? You see that she could not help that, what's his name? George?
Yes.
George to read. And George was kind of like the dependent reader. Right? Same always come to her and ask her, help me with this. But she said, she was honest. She said, I didn't know what to do with him. I didn't know how to help him. But over the years, now it has become her focus to help children read better. So I didn't want to just read this book alone, but I want to read it with the kids so they can learn firsthand. So in the next 10 or so minutes, how much more minutes? Actually, we have a timer. 15. How much minutes we have left? 10 minutes. Ooh. So we have 10 minutes to finish up this one chapter here. And then we're going to see if there's any activities first. So, read with us. All right, where am I? Let me get my magic glasses. Okay, so we're talking about ambiguity. Did you write that down?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you did.
Perfect. So it means they can't read. We continue the chapter. Her question haunted me through that day, first year and for several years that followed, as it's not only forced me to acknowledge what I didn't know, but also helped me understand how critical it is that we, as teachers, learn to be precise in our language. Even now, I work to focus indefinite language. You're a good writer, I said recently to an undergraduate student. Why? She said, please. Why not? I asked. Why am I a good writer? You know, guys, and this is a good thing to pay attention to, right? Is that when people tell us sometimes people give you compliments. Make sure you said thank you, but ask one more question. Ask a follow-up question because you want to know why they're thinking what they're thinking. Because if you don't ask them questions, you're going to leave, right, unknowing what they were thinking, and then you're gonna probably start to make up answers for your questions. You can't do that. In order to know somebody's mind, you have to just ask them what they're thinking. Hopefully, they give you an honest answer. So this is what she was trying to do here. She wanted to know why the teacher said she was a good writer. I said nothing for a moment, thinking through my answers. So she continued, "No, I mean, thank you for saying that, but people have always told me that, and I needed to know what I'm doing that's good.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Oh, perfect. So it's like sometimes you guys tell me something, or Paul would tell me something, and I was like, why did you say that? The reason why I ask those questions is because I want to know what is it I'm doing that somebody else is seeing that we can probably try again, right? It's not to, because I don't want you don't want to get in the place of pride. You don't want to be prideful. No question is too hard or too silly to ask. Because, like most of the people I listen to or the teachers when I went in school, they'll say, you don't get to ask one silly question once. Because if you have that question, maybe the entire class have it. So go ahead and ask it. It's fine. Okay? Don't be afraid to ask some questions. Sometimes some people cannot deal with the questioning, but that is not your problem. Your problem is to get the question where you want to answer so you can save your brain from making up story that don't go like that. Right?
Yeah.
You want to give your brain facts because that's the best way to do it. And so she wanted to know where did I stop. Oh, I didn't put my finger there. I'm going to do what's good for you. Okay, so she said she wanted to know because she was teaching this one little boy. Let me find my space. Chip, chip, chip. For one of my, so she said she wanted to know what she's doing good. For one of my other classes, I am tutoring a kid and I have to help him with his writing. If you could tell me exactly what I'm doing that's good, then maybe I could show him how to do the same thing. Which I like this sentence right here because this is why we're reading this text together and not just me go sit somewhere, read it, grab some notes, and then come and teach you how to be an independent reader than a dependent reader waiting for people to tell you all the time out the meaning of a word or to decode a word for you. You don't want that, right? You want to keep giving your brain facts so that as you learn these strategies and principles, no matter what word you come upon, you can know that, oh, I'll just simply decode that word, break it up in syllables, right? And you can spell it. So she was correct, of course. Once we can define what's working and what isn't working, then we know instructions. Let me read it again. So she was correct, of course. Once we can define what's working and what isn't working, then we know how instructions should proceed. And if you're a mama out there or a daddy or a caregiver and you have the kids at home educating them, or you probably send the kids out, and when them kids come home, make sure that you can do your thing with them to help them to learn and to give them facts, right? Sometimes as parents, we don't have much time to Go sit in a corner, go learn the material, and go make the lesson plans, and then come and teach. But we can't do it together. Would you guys agree that this is cool?
Yes, son.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah? Because then we learn exactly what the teacher is saying. We see the examples that she used, right? We get to meet the different characters, the students, the different names that she's talking to. That's what I want you guys to grab from me. And as you go, remember, home education or the classical education, which is what we do with our children. Remember, it's more than just being at home and just learning. It's also learning how to learn, right? Learning how to go find your resources so that whatever you want to learn, guys, you can find reputable and good resources out there. Of course, you know there's bad one out there as well, right? So you see me go out and we get this book. We check the facts. We check who is this woman, what is her worldview, who is this author. So then we can say, okay, we can make an inference that we want to learn from her, right? So there's nothing you should want to learn when you can go get the facts, and that's what this is all about. When you break it down, is teaching children how to learn, not what to learn, right? And so this is facts here. Because the classical education, the things that we follow, the things that we're doing is giving you guys facts, right? So that you can make an informed decision, right? So we have one more paragraph before the time I run out. Oops, 3 minutes. Woo. So the dependent reader. What is a dependent reader? The dependent reading the behavior. Look at this behaviors, guys. So while I can still catch myself saying, this kid can't read, I now clarify what that means. Not being able to read can mean a range of things, depending on the student's strength and weakness. Take a moment and think of 2 or 3 students you have taught, or probably your student that you have taught who had problems reading. Once you have those students in mind, read through the following list and decide which descriptors fit which student. When you say a student can't read, that might mean he or she cannot easily and quickly recognize single syllable words. I think we hear a lot of that in the media where they're talking about a particular group of children or high schoolers leaving school and can't read. But what does that mean? Such a broad statement. And if you don't mind, sharp, you just feel like they're absolutely illiterate, which is not truth, right? But is either your child, is either you guys gonna be a dependent readers? What do dependent readers do?
Depend on whoever they're reading with.
Depend on the teacher or the parents to always cipher out the problem or the decoding for them. They don't wrestle with it. They don't take time to break down the words, say the word out loud, spell it out aloud, and so on. Break it down the syllables, sound out the letters and all of that. Wrestling with it is what this resource is suggesting, right? That means when you see him reading and you reading, I don't want to quickly jump in and solve that for you and say, oh, you know what, that word is champion. No. You have to wrestle with it, right?
Yeah.
So, a dependent reader is one child or person who don't spend no time to wrestle with the word. So, the dependent reader, here are some of the behaviors, guys. They cannot, sometimes we say they cannot easily and quickly recognize single syllable words, or they cannot easily and quickly recognize multi-syllable words. A dependent reader, they has few or no strategies for recognizing unknown words. Dependent readers, they has a limited sight word vocabulary. Dependent reader does not know how to use the context as a clue to help with word recognition or word meaning. This is why this is going to be very beneficial for us. Because something you read in an article, especially we go like the voyage book or the other bigger text that we use, sometimes, if not all the times, you can know what the meaning of a word is inside of that one paragraph based on how they use it. Right? So that's what you call a context clue. By going back to the context in which it was used to find the clue and the inferred meanings. Right?
Yes.
Dependent reader does not know how to use the context as a clue to help him or her with word recognition and word meaning. It does not have or use knowledge of word parts to help with word recognition or word meaning. Dependent readers read haltingly, one word at a time. Dependent readers read aloud or whisper reading when silent reading would be more appropriate.
Time, remember the time.
The time I'm gonna go off it.
It hasn't.
I think we just see zero on this. I think it go off. So let me read a couple more and then we'll finish. And so dependent readers, they read very slowly and pay no attention to punctuations. Dependent readers read aloud with little or no expression. Dependent readers read too fast, blurring words, rushing through punctuations. Dependent readers, it does not fear the text when reading silently. It does not hear the text when they're reading silently. Dependent readers, they read all material at the same rate. Dependent reader does not reread to clarify meanings. Dependent readers, they read to finish rather than to understand. Is there anybody inside here? Let me see if I see anybody will read to rush through. So think about these things, right? These are not condemnation here. These is to make us be better human beings daily. Once God gave us breath in our body, okay? Dependent readers, they cannot keep events of text in correct order. They do not recognize cause and effect relationships. Dependent readers has trouble comparing and contrasting events, settings, and characters. Dependent readers, they cannot answer literal level questions about the text. And guess what? To overcome all of that, and as we're growing and we're becoming better, guys, read a couple sentences and then you stop and you say, what is the author telling me right here? Okay? Or you probably figure out the 2, 3, 4 sentences, but by the time you get to the end of the paragraph, stop at the first paragraph and say what the author is communicating right here. Like for us right now, this author is communicating to us that these are the behaviors of dependent readers. And dependent reader doesn't mean that they don't know anything at all. It's just that they're lacking skills so that they can understand better. They can comprehend what they're reading. Right? Yeah. And so, dependent readers, they cannot answer literal level questions about the text. Dependent readers does not easily make inferences, draw conclusions, or make generalization from the text. They cannot state the main idea of a text. And so it goes on. There's such a huge list right here of the characteristics of dependent readers. Now, the goal here in helping our children and helping you to read and to become better readers is to give you guys the strategies that will help you to become independent. And as you become independent, you're wrestling with it. You're breaking words down. You're sounding out the letters, right? You're breaking the words down in the syllables, right? You're decoding. Because you don't have to know the word spell. You just need to know what the letter sounds. And you break them down. So, our timer is done. Woohoo! Alright, so let's park this for a moment and then let's see what we learn. Okay? Thank you so much, guys, for watching and listening. God is so good. And when you get a chance to sit before or to influence a child's life, do it to the best of your ability. Children are capable of learning because God put that ability in them. I am so grateful that God gave us this opportunity to not only parent, but also to help you become better children. Because when you learn, I learn. We learn, right? We're all students of life. So when we do our work here and we get together and we read, and as you guys read your personal books, apply these same principles. Stop, ask yourself, what is the author communicating right here? What is he saying to me? Because it's something that they're saying from the books. It's something they're saying to you from whatever you read, right? People put together their thoughts, their opinions, or some solutions they put together and they're sharing it with you. Okay? So, if you're a mama out there or a caregiver, seek resources out that can help you to be able to help your child at home. And when you find the resources, look, read them together with the kids, right? Read together. If you can't afford to buy anything, it's always great to just take the Bible and read it with the children, or give them stuff from chapters. Actually, that's what we're going to do next. To write out, right? So I am Marsha Weigum, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for stopping by. And please subscribe and like this channel, because everything that you see on this channel is to help us to become students of life and to become awesome people of God. So we published this one book here. It's on Amazon. It's called Take His Hands. And this is our faith journey with our son's Down syndrome diagnosis. Or if you're a parent who just get the diagnosis news, I just want you to know that all hope is not lost. I'm seriously, take it from us. We're 6 years on the journey when doctors told us that we could terminate our son with Down syndrome diagnosis. And so what I didn't know is that we have served in the capacity as caregivers for over 2 decades, serving children with Down syndrome and other special needs. And so when we found out that we were going to have our own son, he's an awesome young man right here, with Down syndrome, and they told us we could terminate, we turned that insult into purpose by writing our story to help inspire you or someone you might know. And then we founded a non-profit organization. It's called Our Voice for the Voiceless. We also have a podcast where we interview other persons with an awesome story who they want to send a message of hope to others. So, get your copy on Amazon. The link is in my description section of the channel. And I am inviting you to come on this journey with us. What do I do? So I am a wife. I am a child of the one and only God. I am a mom of 6 children. One of them was diagnosed with Down syndrome. I love teaching the Word of God. Oh my gosh. And upon writing this resource and starting a nonprofit organization and doing the podcast, my whole aim is to do? Is to help people to hold on to the hands of God, knowing that we live in a wicked world and there's a God of this world. And no matter what we do in this world, there's always going to be challenges, but God said that He'll never leave us nor forsake us. Or the resource that I share on this channel is to help you overcome the challenges that we face in life. Look, I'm not going to sit here and act as though my life has always been like this. Absolutely not. From the beautiful island of Jamaica and then making the United States my home, only because I thought I was in a search for a better opportunity, not realizing that I could have do it right where I was. So upon emigrating, I faced so many challenges that I now know how to overcome them because I have a relationship with God. And that's the only way you can overcome things. And as you go through things in life, we can't wish them away. We can't live problem proof, if there's a word like that. we can't really, be free from it, because the scripture tells us that God will always be with us. And he also tells us that the troubles and the trials and everything that we face in life, you're going to be built up. Your perseverance is going to be built, hope is going to be built, and your character. No, I would not wish anything that I've been through. Whether it was when I was homeless, living in poverty, or being an immigrant, living in a new place, leaving my young kids back home, experiencing those, you know, domestic violence, have to overcome all of that, or being told my son is going to have a Down syndrome diagnosis and you can terminate it. Irrespective of where I'm on the journey, I love every aspect because I've learned to take God's hands. My character has been built, hope has been built, and perseverance in life. And now here I am, teaching the Word of God and home educating my children, teaching a son with Down syndrome. Because they told us that you couldn't read, but that's not truth. So if you're on the journey right now, grab yourself a book, subscribe to this channel so you can be notified. And there's a link somewhere you can join our community. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're a struggling reader, listen, you don't have to be a teacher and certified teacher to help your kids at home. You just need to understand that there's a challenge and you want to work through it, and you go get your resources, study together with them, right at the kitchen table, in the living room, on the lawn when the weather is good, wherever you want to take up residence, do it. Until next time, as she said, subscribe, share, and walk good.